Hi guys, my name is Ntantla and I'm from South Africa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing why so many African Americans are quote-unquote being forced out of Africa. Watch these videos and I will give my thoughts and opinions after.
Okay, so the number one reason why I left Tanzania is because I was getting scammed numerous times. Was I scammed? I left Tanzania and I've been back in the US for almost 2 months. And for me, it was the best decision that I could have ever made for my future and for my son's future. I was on Facebook and I saw that someone posted a picture of them holding up 500 T-shillings. It seemed like they were trying to say that's how much you would have to pay. You would only have to pay 500 T-shillings to fill up your car, which is, I think they said, less than 50 cents. The situation for me this time was a visa issue. And I'll go into that in another video. I just feel like it's so much to tell and I need to give the details of that. However, that situation was rectified for me, but at the last minute after I decided that I was leaving to go home. And there is, someone there in Tanzania that I believe would be great for diasporans to, to help them make sure that they get their visas and all the paperwork that they need, and to just, not get scammed, and someone that's trustworthy. As far as I am concerned, I did what was right for me and what was best for me. It didn't matter what anyone had to say to me.
Okay, now for this clip, this lady says that she left Tanzania because she was being scammed. It's really unfortunate what happened to her. I mean, I think this is quite the norm, especially when it comes to touring to another country. I believe the natives of that country are going to want to exploit you because you do not know any better. The same thing would happen to me if I'm a South African. If I decided to go to America, people will eventually notice that I am not a native there. I'm a tourist, I'm visiting, and as such will want to exploit me. I believe this is how people are in general, and it's unfortunate that she had to go through that, but it sucks. But I honestly believe that this is what happens. It happens throughout the whole world. Now, the one that I really want to discuss is the one that talks about immigration.
The first thing that I didn't like is the immigration process. When I went to Tanzania, I already imprinted it in my brain that you're allowed to, from the research that I've done, that you're allowed to have 3 months there and then get extensions, which is a 30-day extension. It's supposed to be 2 30-day extensions for free. But once I got to the immigration, they had us wait there for 5 hours after telling us they could give us that time period, and we only got 2 weeks. After waiting 5 hours, we got a 2-week extension. So I had to maneuver myself from there, and it was just not pretty for me. I left the immigration office like literally in tears because I was just like, it's just this, I pick up on vibrations and energy, and it's just like the immigration people just felt like they don't want me here. For whatever reason, whatever judgment they had of me, I don't think they want us as expats there. And that's just the honest truth, you guys. Like, they were laughing at me while I was crying. Like, it was just not funny. Maybe it was just the immigration officers that I dealt with, but it was just like, oh, okay, yeah. So that was like one of the first negative experiences for me there. But yeah, I thought I could, stay there a little bit longer just to feel it out. Now, let me tell you guys, I never, ever, ever had I had no expectations with coming to Africa. Like I told you guys, I had plans to move to Ghana. They changed their rules. I don't like how their president moves. So I decided to come over to go to Tanzania. Yeah, the immigration, like to have to leave every 3 months. I know this before going to Tanzania because it's everywhere, it's listed everywhere. But what I didn't take into was the expense that it would be to travel from country to country. I thought maybe it would be a little bit cheaper, but clearly it wasn't. I just never fit in, and I've been me all my life. This is me, and I'm always changing and growing, but who I am at the core, I can't change. So if I can't vibe with the culture and I feel judged by the culture half the time, it's just not gonna work long term for me. So that's one of the bigger reasons why I left too. Most of the expats were couples or males. So I met a guy, he was there from Europe. He had a business in Europe, but he lived in Atlanta. He's from Atlanta. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, come to find out, like, he was like bragging about how, you know, he can get certain favors from a girl in the community for little to nothing. And I don't mean sexual favors, but he was just bragging. And that's what he kind of like hinted at, but I didn't want to assume. But, you know, like, I think guys sometimes come to exploit the, white and black guys come there to exploit the community if, you know, they know like they can get a lot for little to nothing, you know, from whether it's company, sex, whatever, like they know this. So they go there to sometimes exploit. So being that I met some cool expats that were males too. That right there was like a big, I don't fit, you know, but I want to connect with like-minded people, and I also want to connect with the African culture and the African people, but because there was that language barrier, I couldn't connect with any of the Tanzanian people, and I'm sure that stopped me from meeting a bunch of good people, but I couldn't connect. So this was like a thing for me that I was just like, dang, you know, like it sucks. This is a bummer. It took a lot of effort coming to Africa, but I was just like, I just don't see myself happy here. I'm not happy. So I didn't know, like in my mind, I'm like, once I didn't feel welcome, I'm like, when can I escape? You know, because if you don't feel connected with the people, it's just like, what in the world am I doing here? Like, you know, I vibe with a few Tanzanian people, the ones who spoke English, and I didn't vibe with any diasporans, actually, not for long. So, you know, that's just what it is.
I seem to hear a lot of people who are immigrating complain about the immigrating process. All of them say it's horrible, and I wonder if that's also the case here in South Africa. I am not an immigrant. I've never been an immigrant to any country. I've always been inside the borders of South Africa. If you watching this happen to have had any problems, especially with immigration, you know, moving maybe to a African country, please let us know your experiences and thoughts in the comment section. We really appreciate that. Alright, so one thing that comes to mind when I hear these ladies talk is xenophobia. Now, what is xenophobia? Xenophobia is dislike of or prejudice against people from other countries. Now that we know what xenophobia is, I will attest to the fact that xenophobia in Africa, I can only speak for South Africa in this instance, so xenophobia in South Africa is real. I've seen xenophobia here in Africa growing up, especially when I was younger. Now I don't see that much. Maybe it's because I'm not watching the news and everything. But growing up, I used to see a lot of xenophobia on the news and in real life. And I've seen this happen in my hometown very recently. The native South Africans in my hometown, and I'm talking about something that occurred like 2 months ago. So 2 months ago, they started looting into the Indian shops, Pakistan people's shops, and they started evicting them, taking their stuff and everything. And if I were to come up with my own stat, I would say that approximately every 3 years it happens just in my town. So imagine what occurs on a national level. And I swear I'm not lying to you, but also it happened in a sense of like, it was the native Africans here in South Africa. Now we're starting to evict other Africans that came from other countries. Now, just like me, you may be wondering why this happens. So I took the liberty of going on Google to search why these things happen. So the title here says, what causes xenophobic attacks in South Africa? It says factors contributing to this are nature of the physical features or the appearance of certain foreigners. What does that mean? I bet that means some racial escapades. I bet that has everything to do with racism. I can guarantee you that. Resentment of their economic successes. Yep. Jealousy is rampant here in Africa. I know there are stories of people getting bewitched because of envy, people getting murked because of envy. So that is a problem, and I honestly do not advocate for any type of envy, because I honestly believe that whatever another person can do, you can also do. Why limit yourself? And if I can't, then cool. I don't see why you should be resentful. It doesn't make any sense to me, but apparently it is a good enough reason to instigate xenophobia. And then it continues to read, fear of foreigners bringing in diseases. I guess compared to the other ones, this one makes more sense. And it goes on and says, concerns that they may marry South Africans. I honestly don't see anything wrong with that, unless of course there's pedophilia involved, minors involved, then I tremendously and utterly have a problem when it comes to that. So in my personal experiences, when I see people, especially in my hometown, when they try to justify xenophobia, foreigners are going to take the opportunities, and which has always been like, it makes sense, right? Because they argue that foreigners are willing to work for lower wages, and as such employers will choose foreigners over them because it makes sense from a business perspective. And it's a valid argument, right? But I honestly think that, being xenophobic to people does not literally make sense. I believe we can implement certain laws if people are really worried about getting their jobs taken away from them. So why did I suddenly veer off to xenophobia and everything? Because I believe what this lady is experiencing is xenophobia, and I honestly and utterly feel for her. She's obviously happy to travel to Africa, to our motherland. I believe all Africans, wherever they are, in America, whatever, like, they should come to Africa and really, bond with nature and to see the motherland. So it's really unfortunate for her to have this kind of experience. It really sucks. If I were in her shoes, honestly, I would also feel like I am forced to leave Africa, because it would be like Africa is literally rejecting her. It makes sense why she would want to leave, honestly. But I honestly believe that we should all practice humility. So on behalf of all Africans, or people in particular that are doing that, I offer my sincerest apologies. As you guys can see and hear, I do not have a lot to say on this topic. It is ultimately based on your experiences and everything. I was just feeling for her and I thought I should do this video. So tell me what you guys think. If you have particularly traveled or moved to Africa, how are you finding your stay? Why did you leave? Do you plan on coming to Africa? Interact with me in the comment section. Let me know. I'm genuinely interested to hear your experiences. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching my video till the end. Subscribe if you enjoyed. Like this video, give me a thumbs up. It shows me that you guys are really loving this content, and I'll keep producing more. Also, I have 2 videos that I tremendously believe you will like. I will leave them in the end screen. Thank you.